What's going on, y'all? Hold on. Got that little curl sticking out like that. What's up, y'all? It's Mr. B from Fathers Read 365. Wanted to jump on today just to go live around Wednesday. Please, we would love you guys to join us. We are having our first Family Literacy Night. Fathers Read 365 Family Literacy Night is something that we're starting. Don't quite yet know if we want to do a monthly or bi-weekly yet, but it's something that we're starting for the public, for the general public. We want to have a place where we can gather as a community, and why we call it Family Literacy Night. You can definitely watch it with your family. The information we're sharing is definitely for your family, but we see the community as a family, right? And we see the community coming together and learning together, sharing together, ways that we can better the literacy outcomes in our country. If you're not aware, currently America is literally in a literacy crisis. And through the work of doing the work of Fathers Read 365 for the last what going on 9 years now, um, one of the things we promise ourselves that we will always do is listen. And we listen and we continue to listen to our community. We continue to listen to studies, to research. And one of the things we hear, especially from our community, is just they don't know. They don't know the information. One of the things we see that we're learning is they don't know basic information. When I'm talking about our community, I'm talking about throughout, right? Because we do a lot of work in a lot of underserved communities. And I don't want people to believe that this is an issue for just communities that struggle with resources. This is a straight across the line. When they say 1 in 5 people have dyslexia, say, right? Let's talk about dyslexia. When they say 1 in 5 people have dyslexia, there is no subcategory. There is no category of 1 in 5. It's 1 in 5 people. When we talk to a literacy crisis, we talking to kids who are in very resource communities, down to kids. I mean, not down. I want to say down to kids who are in communities that don't have as many resources. Um, this is a crisis, and one of the ways we wanted to solve it is by coming together as a community, as a family, and sharing discussion pieces, right? Fathers Read 365 is taking a lead in this. And because we're doing that, we are initially scheduling a guest, and we'll be panelists. And for these topics, for some of the topics, we'll be always a host, a panelist for some of the topics. Like the first one, how literacy can break the pipeline to incarceration. And the reason why that will be the first one, and why we'll be on that panel, as well as host of that event, is because it's the first one, and that's the one that Fathers Read really began around. Is how do we keep children who become young adults, who become men? How do we keep them out of prison? And we truly believe in early literacy, early screening, teaching children properly, teaching them structured reading. We're heavy believers in the science of reading. I've seen the Wilson's program work firsthand in my house with my son, and know many other success stories. But why should you come to Family Literacy Night? Why are we having Family Literacy Night? Because there's a wealth of information that often is just not shared. There's a lot of information at times is gate kept, and when I say that is, it gets stuck behind certain paywalls. And what I mean is you being able to pay for that information, not necessarily that it's hidden behind a paywall, but it's having access to that information may cost you some money. And what we believe in reading is a right. Every child, every person, every human being has the right to learn how to read and should be taught how to read, especially when we live in a country that knows how to teach reading. So why are we living in a reading crisis? Because we're not properly teaching kids the right way, right? And we want to share more information. When we hear us say that, what does that mean, Brent? What does that mean, Mr. B, when you say we're not teaching reading the right way? That will be this. They will be the. They will be topics we will discuss as we move forward. How reading is currently taught in this country versus how we know that reading should be taught in this country, and we will have discussions around why that is happening. We also will have discussions around whether they're teaching that in your kid's school or not. How can you find a proper tutoring? How can you find proper schools or information around where you can still advocate and be assisted in this reading journey with yourself or with your child or in your family in general? We want to give information. We want to be able to bridge the gap from the parent who's at home, who's having a hard time trying to understand the process that she's going to, maybe process he or she may be going through to get an IEP, or why IEP is even important, or why maybe that what your child is dealing with doesn't necessarily need an IEP, but they need this type of action. We believe that information like this, we should have a place where we share information like this for the common person. Ideally, we would love parents and families to show up to this, but we're also looking for counselors, educators, people who work with the general public, people who work with families to show up for this. Because again, guys, we will be giving real life information that you can, if the topic really addresses some of your concerns, you can come that night and leave that night with information on how to move forward and address that issue in your family or with yourself. We will have some of the top professionals we've across the land in this early literacy space will be guests, will be panelists. We're looking to bring our community the best information, and we believe that sharing it is how we're going to do it. So, how are we sharing and where we're sharing it? Currently, right now, we're doing a webinar, a Zoom webinar. The link, I wasn't able to share it in this bio right now, and maybe I don't know how to, but if you go to Fathers Read 365 Instagram page, the link is in our bio. Again, that's Fathers Read 365 Instagram page. That link is in your bio. Please go there. The link is there to join the webinar Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, the first of its kind that we know of. A fathers led literacy reading group is having a family literacy night. We're bringing together the top professionals in literacy and the early literacy space over the next few months, over the next few years, to present here on Family Literacy Night and to provide our community the best literacy information. So this week, we're starting with how literacy can break the pipeline to prison. If you haven't heard, there's a theory, thought, saying, belief around the pipeline of prisons from certain schools, from certain communities, the pipeline of prison, which keeps the prison industry fully flowing and not being disrupted. One of those things is children not knowing how to read, children who become adults who don't know how to read. And we're going to dig into some of those statistics around how many children, how many men are in jail with dyslexia, how many children, how many men are in jail who are functionally illiterate. And we're going to use that conversation to speak to why early literacy specifically is so important, why it can really move the needle on our community when we talk about um, having a more positive, more safer community, is because people who read tend to learn better. People who read, who learn how to read early, before third grade, they tend to do better. One, because they then have the knowledge to educate themselves, they have the knowledge to advocate for themselves. Because they can then take in information. Also, because after third grade, there are no reading teachers. So if you haven't learned to read by third grade, depending on the school, there will be no more help. There will be no more resources for you, unless you get some type of private tutoring or tutoring through your school through different measures. However, so that's why it's so important that we address early literacy when we're talking about keeping young men and young ladies out of prison, is because they have a short amount of time to master this, and a lot of times that's not even commonly known. When we speak to parents about third grade being the last year where reading is taught, um, most of them don't realize that. And then if you think about it, they're basically having from kindergarten to third grade to grasp or get on level. And that's something that doesn't always happen for various different reasons. So family literacy nights, we want to dig into what's going on, but not just talk about it and admire the problem. Every family literacy night, we're going to have, it's going to be solution based. It's going to be resource based. So you can leave the discussion with a way that you can attack the problem and also with some resources to attack the problem. If there's a problem in your home or in your school or in your community that you want to be a part of addressing. So, Family Literacy Night, it will also be recorded and posted here on Facebook. I mean, excuse me, on YouTube. So please, if you see it, please share it. Please share it. We want all educators, all caregivers, all parents to be a part of this. This information is going to be totally free, and I promise you, we're going to have some of the top experts in the early literacy space and literacy space overall sharing with you guys. So please join us. We can't wait. Again, it's Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. The link is not on our YouTube page right here, but the link is in our bio on Instagram. Please go to our Instagram, which is FathersRead365. Go to the link in our bio, and you will see the Family Literacy Night tab right there. Click on that, and you can register right there. Please, guys, like, share, subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. We're trying to build a community of readers, a community of engaged fathers, a community of people who love reading and who love making sure that our children learn how to read. So I'm gonna be out right now. That's Mr. B checking in. Uh, Peace, guys, and let's get this family literacy night. Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a thing. All right, we out. Let me see. Get off of this. Like I always say.